corrupts. You know, like Ecclesiastes 7:7 says, a gift destroyeth the heart. Money and influence, power corrupts. Tina is not mentally capable of dealing with a young woman. That's why I said earlier, there was no such thing as boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay? Just at the age of 20 and up is when you read the scriptures, our people got married, 20 and up. Not these young ages where you're emotionally immature. You don't know how to handle an argument and say, you want to fight, you want to hit her. That's not how you deal with it. But you got to be taught that, and that starts from young. And then when they get to that marriageable age to get married, they're emotionally and mentally able to deal with a spouse.
Giving all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, by Shem Harakakwadash, double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. The book of Isaiah 7:14 prophesies, therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Now, first off, the word Emmanuel just means Yahweh is with us. It's just another title. This word virgin isn't talking about an actual virgin as in a woman who hasn't had sex yet, because there's two words for the word virgin in the Old Testament. You got the word that actually means virgin is Bathwala, if I'm maybe pronouncing it a little wrong, but that may be, if I'm pronouncing that right, but that means a woman who was untouched. And then you have the other word for the word virgin that was translated, which is Alma, which means a young woman of marriageable age. So we got to go into the words to break down that the word, when the Lord said a virgin shall conceive, it's not talking about a woman that never had sex. It's talking about a young woman, a woman who is what it's talking about, a young woman. Now, what was a normal age for us that we were getting married? Well, let's look at biology. And this is what Nathaniel is refusing to acknowledge, biology. Boys hit puberty around what age? 12, 13, sometimes 11 is not really normal. What does that mean when a boy hits puberty? That means that his body now starts to produce a sperm, which means that his body, if his body is producing sperm, that means his seed is able to bring forth life. What age does a woman hit puberty? 12, 13. Because of the foods and stuff, you may hear as young as 9, but that's abnormal. Okay, it's normally around the 12, 13, sometimes 11. It all depends. What does that mean? That means her body is now able to receive seed and bring forth a child. Is that by accident, or is that by grand design of the Creator, Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai? It's by the Heavenly Father. Now, all of you with daughters, when your daughter goes through her puberty, I guarantee you, part of, and I really mean towards the men of IUIC who believe that, right? I guarantee you, when their daughters go through that change and they don't know what's going on, part of you teaching them, part of what you're teaching them to comfort them and explaining them how their body's going through changes, part of what you're saying, I almost can guarantee, is that you're telling them that in the eyes of the Lord, you are a woman now. Now your body is changing. Now your body, in the eyes of the Most High, you are able to bring forth children. So in the eyes of the Lord, you are a woman now. See, you got the Most High's perspective, which is the right perspective, and then you have man's perspective. What you just heard Nate say, okay, is according to Nathaniel's perspective. His perspective is you are not allowed to have a child, Sasha. You are not at marriageable age when your body says you are able to. He says you need to be at least 20 first. And where did he get that from? It's because he adopted as of course his doctrine. He adopted doctrines from the Roman Catholic Church, and he also adopted a lot of the doctrines from Christianity. And he's adopted the mentality of Esau Edom, the so-called white man. In fact, he's going above Esau Edom, the so-called white man, because in different states in the U.S., the marriageable age is 16 all the way up to 18 in different states. He adopted the Roman doctrine of monogamy, which that started in the Romans, really in the Greeks, and that did that for more control, especially over the Israelites. He've adopted that, and he said that's what he's going to teach, and he went above, and he said no, 18 is too young. I say 20. That's what he said. Now he's saying the scriptures say that, but the scriptures don't say that. The scriptures tell you that when our men went out to war, they were aged 20 and up, right? Because physically their body had to be developed to go to war, right? Because they don't have muscles and all that strength yet. However, their body is able to what? Bring forth life. Thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Now, I think somebody even also came in a comment board the same thing, because they're offended at the idea as well, because they grew up in America. They're offended at the idea of young men and women bringing forth children. Really, what they're offended of is just an older man dealing with the younger woman, dealing with the woman in her teens. That's what they're really offended of. And they want to try to call it a sin, but really, according to the scriptures, it's not. If the woman is of marriageable age, aka when she hits puberty, and when does that happen? We'll go with the age 12. If a man who's 20, 30, 40 happens to have a woman who's a teen, sure, from the perspective of America in this life, that's not, you may say that ain't right, but in the eyes of the Lord and according to the scriptures, there's no sin. That's what Israelites get offended at. So as you can see, he changed his doctrine to fit more of a politically correct narrative. Really is pandering to the woman, and that's because the woman is really controlling him. You know, scripture says women are strong, but I guarantee you his wife is behind his mentality of all that, because you keep the woman happy, you keep your pockets fat. He understands that, okay? Because he's all about controlling the man. Everything he says is all about controlling the man. You can't have more than one wife. You can't deal with a young woman, because you know that's what a man wants. You can't do that. You got to deal with one of these older women who done already seen and been used and abused. You got to deal with them, because that's what a woman wants you to say, okay? So if we get back to the prophecy, the Lord said, a young woman shall conceive and bear a son, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel. So what does that mean? That means that when Mary brought forth a child, she was a very young woman. That the Son of Man would come out of a very young woman. Now, let's go here. I pulled this up because the brother even pulled this up. If you just type in, what does the Bible say is a proper age for marriage? Now let's see what they say. Let's see if they were being emotional, or let's just see if they spoke the truth. I'm going to jump down to right here. It says, it is reasonable to look at the practices of ancient Israelite for cultural considerations on a proper age for marriage. According to tradition, boys were not considered, quote, men, and therefore not marriageable until the age of 13. Now, where do you get that from? Well, a perfect example is when you deal with Yahweh Shai. How does he go? Let's type in sorry, because you know that's what his mother said. Okay. Let's type father's business. Luke chapter 2. Verse 42. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. And what did he do? He went and he taught the people when he was what? 12 years old. Because in the eyes of the Lord, he is a man now. He is now under the law. The Spirit taught him. He's understood of the scriptures. So he went to go teach. He was doing his father's business. That's when he said, all right, time to start my work, my job. Showing you that what? He was a man. So it goes on to say, girls were not considered, quote, women until the age 12. These ages more or less correspond to the onset of puberty. While those ages might seem too young to us, to Nate, they are not unusual ages for getting married historically. And of course, historically teaches you that. Why? Because biology teaches you that, but not according to Nate. Nate adopted Roman Catholicism. He adopted Christianity. He adopted the Roman Empire. He adopted the doctrine of Esau Edom because he's being controlled really by a woman. You know, women are strong, man. The scriptures tell you that. When you want to find somebody who's going to change the doctrine, who's offended at the law of Deuteronomy chapter 22 regarding the issue of grape, it's because of that woman. The fear, and it's the fear of offending other men who are going to be emotional to it. So at the end of the day, it's because of that woman that controls your doctrine. He said he's adopted the idea of what Esau Edom says. So Esau Edom, and he's not alone in that either. You also heard what Captain Tazarak said, the same thing. He actually said that it ain't right for a man who's older to deal with a younger woman, and it's only right if the younger woman deals with another younger man. So you've admitted that a younger woman is able to deal with the man. You just prefer the young woman to deal with a younger man because that seems politically correct in your eyes. See, that's being emotional. That's applying your emotions and your perspective as law according to the scriptures. And that's exactly what Nate's doing. Okay. Nate says, I say you can't get married until you're age 20. I say a man can't have more than one wife. I say both men and women both got to be a believer. You can't have a non-believing spouse. And I say that non-believing spouse got 6 months to get on board. If not, then I say you got to put her or him away and those children, and you got to get with one of these sisters in the church. And I say your children got to believe as well, or you got to cut them off. All right. And I say that fornication means that you got to be legally married to have sex with your woman. And I say if you have sex and you're not legally married to her according to the state, which is a marriage certificate, which when you read the marriage certificate, it has nothing to do with Yahweh at all. Nothing to do with Yahweh at all. When you go to the origins of it, it was for control. Okay, they'll tell you this has nothing to do with the Most High. You are giving the state the license to oversee your marriage. All right, the Most High is out the picture. It's the state, which is Esau, you, and then your wife. Okay, they say, I say that's what Nate's saying. Okay, he's saying I say that if you ain't legally married to that wife, you commit sin and you can burn in hell because I've adopted the Roman Catholicism doctrine of hell, so forth and so on. And I dare you guys, I love it when their followers who are either new or not in the know, Johnny come latelys, come along, get offended at what we're saying and tell me, you lying, they ain't never said that. We got the receipts and I will gladly show you because it shows that you are just the simple. You're really offended at what the doctrine says, but once you see the evidence yourself, you're going to keep quiet because you don't care about the truth. You just care about being a part of something, which is that group. Anyway, back here, it says, while those ages might seem too young to us, they are not. We don't lie. We're not going to lie on anybody. We're telling the truth. And if you're offended at it, then you need to pray, understand the scriptures for yourself, pray for understanding, and make the steps you need necessary to teach the truth. A lot of you, because you're simple and because you want to be a part of the group and because you want to have somewhere to go every day, because you like eating chicken, you like hanging around the women, you got a wife in there, you basically, a lot of you feel that you're trapped, okay, because it's all about control. You're going to keep your mouth shut and just keep going about, well, there's a strong chance you're not of the elect, all right? And you're going to go along, you're going to teach that just like you're not going to teach the names for the sake of going along to get along. Well, just know there's a strong chance you are not of the elect. Because eventually you should grow, ask to pray to the Lord for the courage to say, look, I got to teach the truth, and this is the truth, and accept it. And if you get persecuted for it, then that's actually a good thing. Okay? It says, while those ages might seem too young to us, they are not unusual ages for getting married. Historically, it has only been within the last century or so that the average age of getting married has drifted into the late 20s and 30s. And what does biology say? When a woman is in her late 30s, 20s, biology says she's on a ticking clock where she can't really bring forth children. I mean, she takes a risk of hitting menopause. And the later she is in age to bring forth children, that increases problems with the pregnancy. The scriptures even tell you that children born of the younger youth of a womb is one fashion versus of the older womb, older fashion. So what does nature itself teach you? That what? When a woman is in her prime, which is in her younger years, that's when she brings forth children at her full strength. Those children are of another fashion. That's really the best time to have children, because now you have really your whole life to enjoy your children, and you have that window to what? Bring forth as many as you possibly can. That's what nature's teaches. But what does Nate say? Nate says, I say 20 years old. But so we have proof, right? And let's go to some more proof. So dealing with the virgin, Mary, dealing with Mary. Now this is me speaking as a man, okay? When it says that, considering that it was so normal for us to have arranged marriages and have our children be married at a young age, right? For Mary to stand out as that miracle, she had to have been at that age. You know what I'm saying? And physically, she had to have looked like super young. She had to have looked like, dang, I didn't even think she can have that girl pregnant. She ain't nothing but she still look like she a little toddler. I mean, not a toddler, but an adolescent. You know what I'm saying? And then they can look and say, oh, well, hey, that is the prophecy, right? Because if she was a normal woman that had a kid at 19, is that really a miracle considering how common that is? So that's what I believe. And guess what? It don't tell you Joseph's age, so he had to have been an older man. He could have been, you know? So this is me speaking as a man. But for it to really be a miracle, you know what I'm saying? Clearly she was at young age, and you would look at her and you would say, are you even at the age yet? Clearly you are, because you're pregnant. And you say, and then they'll go to the scriptures and they'll say, oh, okay. It does say that she would be a young woman, a very young woman. Bada bing, bam, boom. She probably didn't even look her age. She probably looked so young and fertile and beautiful, right? Probably tiny, a little tiny thing too. You know what I'm saying? For it to really stand out. Okay. So what does Nate got to say about that? So if you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 36, this is Paul speaking. It says, but if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely toward his virgin, right? Because he's talking about going as long as you can without. But if you already like betrothed a woman, right? And if you think like, okay, I ain't doing her right, then he says what? It says, if she passed the flower of her age. What does that mean? If her body has gone through puberty, and she's now able to bring forth seed, receive seed, and she's ready to get down, right? Because we're just creatures, right? And she has those urges. You, her husband. It says, if she pass the flower of her age and need so require, let him do what he will. He sinneth not, let them marry. So go right ahead, go into her. Meaning what? If she passed the flower of her age, what does that mean? Let's see what that says. It means if she had puberty, right? Oh, wait, did I hit the wrong? Okay. Flower of her age. Greek word, hyperakmos. Beyond the bloom or prime of life, overripe, a plump of ripe, and is so in danger of defilement of a virgin, right? Which really just means she could bring forth seed. Let's see what the next other translation say. Yeah, New King James. If any man think he is behaving improperly toward his virgin, if she is past the flower of youth, meaning what? The you say what? Her flower. Part of that virginity is what? Her flower, right? It says, and thus it must be, let him do what he wishes. He does not sin, let them marry. So obviously what? If she's of that age, so that shows you that it was common that young teenagers, you would say, were getting married. And then he goes on, and here's the proof that he really doesn't think that we're going to get the hell out of here. Look what he goes on to talk about. Some 5 years nonsense.
Scriptures, but I'm telling you, this is the answer. The Bible's always the answer. And be renewed in the spirit of us. That's where the change comes.
I like
tell
the
young
apply
women,
part.
huh?
The apply part, which
Yes.
is very important. Apply.
Apply. And that takes time. Like many of our young men and women that come from a same-sex relationship or lifestyle, they should not be getting married right away. They need to wean themselves off of that for at least, my opinion, it's opinion, 5 years, okay, of studying, praying, applying.
5 years. Dude, America's about to be destroyed. But you see, like we've been telling you, they don't think we're getting out of here. They don't think the Lord's going to come soon. They're not going to tell you that openly, okay? But you'll see it in their actions. That's why you see the fashion shows, the big Passovers, all this fancy stuff, doing movies and stuff like that. They're not hastening the coming of the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. They don't believe the mark of the beast is a chip. So in their eyes, we good to go. As the scripture says, the proverb in Israel is what? The days are prolonged and every vision faileth. And the days he prophesied are far off. So they just think, oh, that's just the beginning of sorrows. We'll be all right. We're going to build. You telling people 5 years? You are setting in the minds of the hearts of these people that we gonna be here for the next 20-some years, man. What are you, crazy? This is how you know he's in the wrong spirit. All of them are in the wrong spirit. But with that, I say shalom.